Hey, yo, what's up? This is Disciple Marcello Courage Rain back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day, yeah. So this part two of the community, the American community, um suffering severe liabilities because of the witch hunting and the gang stuff. The severe liabilities are here now. That part. And you know, I don't know what people expect. If people are kids and you know they grew up a certain way and they still keep that mentality going, like they can just go throughout the world and play games in the world. This world runs by real rules and regulations. I guess the American community just made them comfortable in general. There was no danger, there was no repercussions, and white America probably made them feel even more comfortable because they just went around doing whatever they wanted to anybody. So in all of that comfortability, I guess they thought they could do it now. See, unfortunately, we're in the last times, which portions of the African American community have understood this years ago. Everything karma is coming back quicker. We started to pick that up years ago. Africans started to pick that up years ago. That karma is now coming back quicker than it used to. That's why you can't go by the past. You can't go by whatever has been done at any time in the past. And that's the mistake my adversaries and enemies made. They thought, well, we did MLK a certain way, we did Malcolm X a certain way. What's going to be any difference? The difference is the seasons. Oh, you forgot about that part. That's a 7 hour. Yeah, the seasons are different. It ain't Malcolm X season anymore. No disrespect. It ain't Malcolm X or MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. season anymore. And I got to do a video on this because I've said it before, but I got to do it again because, see, you think that because Malcolm X was assassinated and MLK was assassinated, that you can play with me. That's a 7. Well, let's examine their lives for a split second right quick. I'm going to do a whole video on it though. First of all, in my personal opinion, if you don't follow Yahweh, you don't receive Jesus Christ for your sins, and you don't have the Holy Ghost inside of you, then you go out here and defeat a country like America. You will be assassinated. This explains why when people follow false religions and stand up trying to fight the American community, they lose. It's just like Neo in the Matrix. He came up everybody attempted to do what he did. They attempted it. They were not successful. Neo was the only one successful to beat the Matrix. But if you notice this part, there were many people before him. They insinuated that. They said that. They said it was many people that many people never did. Remember when he jumped over the building, or he tried to jump over the building, he couldn't do it, and he failed, and he said no one does it. They said no one does it the first time. So many people in that world, tried to defeat the Matrix. Many people have tried to defeat the American powers that be, and they failed. Right? And I'm going to tell you why they failed. Because they did not have God for real. And that's why I got to do a video on it. Religion is one thing, having real spirituality is another thing. I told people before, I'm just as powerful as Mary Laveau, the queen of voodoo. I am just on the righteous side, the spiritual side. So when you think about my spirituality, I'm not saying think about the wickedness or the voodoo that she used. Think about the heightened spirituality that she had in the how high ranking she was spiritually. That's how I am. So now you see what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with someone that's just a religious person. We get results over here. That's why our enemies are suffering. That's why they're going through what they're going through. Okay? Now, Malcolm X, he he didn't, Islam, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion. I listen to Farrakhan, right? I respect Farrakhan with the utmost respect for all that he has revealed to the community. I listen to Malcolm X, I've listened to his teachings as well. However, I do not feel that this is the way to God. Islam is the way to God. That's my belief, right? And this is why Malcolm X did not succeed with defeating the American powers that be. So you'll say, well, if Malcolm X died, then anybody can die. Well, if he followed the false religion, if he followed the way that was not the full way, then how could he make it? So you're limiting you're basing what's going to happen to me and people like me based on someone that followed a religion that didn't follow the full way. That's a 7. MLK, let's go to him. Everybody now know that MLK was cheating on his wife while he was doing all those marches. I'm not trying to shame him. His good work was his good work, and nobody can take that from him. I think he was one of the greatest leaders in this country. But what we have to understand is that he was cheating on his wife and fornicating with other women, and the head of the FBI, Edgar Hoover, was on his head, and he sent the audio tapes to MLK's wife. That's horrifying. That can make someone commit suicide. They hear their spouse having sex with someone else, especially someone like Malcolm X. MLK. Think about how his wife felt putting that tape in, listening to her husband on top of the world, on top of America, having sex with other women. So Satan was able to come in. People that are spiritual know this. There are spiritual laws. Satan was able to come in, and he was able to defeat him because he was fornicating with his wife behind his wife's back. He was also smoking cigarettes. Cigarettes is a spiritual bondage. When you get free from smoking tobacco, you will notice a heightened level of spiritual power. So those are the two things that I noticed about him. Yet you limit my experience to someone that was fornicating, committing adultery, which is one of the commandments, do not commit adultery in the Bible. So he was already spiritually slipping, and you can't be spiritually slipping trying to fight America. That's why I am the way I am. While you trying to make me be a part of your world, I can't be spiritually slipping. This is why everyone else failed. They either followed false religions, false movements that had no power and authority because it was not connected to God, or they were slipping spiritually like MLK when he was cheating on his wife. You can't be fighting America and be on top of the whole country, a country full of racist people. A country full of racist people, and you're attacking them, and you're cheating on your wife. The devil is going to take full advantage of that. He's going to take full advantage of that. And that's what he did. He took full advantage of that. And so now you understand why those two individuals were specifically, why they were assassinated. What happened to them specifically. Now you understand better. So don't compare my situation with your past leaders, because when we examine their lives, they were not where they needed to be spiritually. So you can't. So So unfortunately, you can't say what'll happen if God gets his man, God get a real servant of God, God get a real servant that will fight against the powers that be. You can't say based on MLK and Malcolm X. You can't say what's going to happen. Because, like I said, those two was spiritually slipping. And they were fighting the greatest country in the world. And they were spiritually slipping. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because many of you say, you'll say, well, if Malcolm X and MLK was killed, then nobody else can make it. Maybe that's why nobody else attempted it. Maybe that's why everybody else is quiet. Because you felt when you seen MLK get assassinated, and when you seen MLK and Malcolm X get assassinated, you thought there was no hope. You thought that if anybody did that, that's what's going to happen. But you did not look at certain specific dynamics of both of those men, right? You didn't look at both. You didn't look at specific dynamics. The specific dynamics were, number one, with Malcolm X, like I said, he was following a religion that is not the full way. So he was on top of the country bringing information about the American government, but not spiritually covered and protected by Yahweh. So that's why he was a casualty, in my personal opinion. Number two, MLK, Martin Luther King Jr., he was a casualty as well because although he may have followed Yahweh and he had received Jesus Christ and may have been filled with the Holy Ghost, he was cheating on his wife while he was at the heights of doing all those speeches. And if you are aware of spiritual war, then you realize how much of a slip that was. That wasn't a minor situation because of what he was doing. His position in the spiritual war. You see what I'm saying? So you can't, based on that, I say all that to say this. You can't base what happened to them on what's going to happen to the next man that's empowered by God, that's following the way, and that is not out here spiritually slipping. You've never seen it done. Who's done it? Who's taken on the powers that be with the proper information and was not spiritually slipping and following the true way of God? Name one. Not preaching, taking on the powers that be in your country. Not just a Christian minister. Taking on the real issues in your community. Who's done it? Who's done it? No one did it. They sniff and lick around these issues, but they don't take it on full throttle. They don't take it on for real. I've done that. And that's why you see I can't be defeated. Now you wondering. And the whole thing it's because I am following the true way and I'm not spiritually slipping. You thought I was, but I'm not. I got some spiritual weapons that you're not aware of. Oh, you ain't aware of it. I know you tried to figure it out, but you ain't aware of it totally. You're not totally aware of the effects of it. That part. And that's why I'm winning. All glory to God. For real. So, with all that being said, this is why there are serious, severe liabilities in your community concerning playing around with me. Because I am following the way and I'm not spiritually slipping. And you may have thought from the past leaders that you could play with me and get away with it. And now you see that's not the case because I am following the way. I am following the true way and I am not spiritually slipping out here. I tightened up and God covered me when I wasn't tight. He has mercy on who he wants to have mercy on. He has mercy on who he wants to have mercy on. Okay? So see, that's your situation, and you can't win. When somebody is spiritually covered, somebody is following the way, and they're not spiritually slipping, you're in trouble. Because Satan has no legal right. So everything he's doing, everything his kingdom is doing, everything his people are doing is totally illegal. And it's all coming back quick on them because they don't have spiritual rights. I got to do videos about that because there are spiritual rights. There are spiritual legalities that every community must follow. Everybody. If you break these spiritual legalities, I don't care who you are. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care how poor you are. I don't care how famous or ghetto, whatever, everything in between. If you break spiritual legalities, you are in trouble. And your country has played with me like as if it's a game. And I told you, I am just as high ranking as Mary Laveau. Everybody know who she is, the queen of voodoo. I am not a witch. I am not a warlock, right? But I am the opposite on the other side with just as much, more power than they had. More power than she had. Now you see what's going on. And I say this humbly, I'm a spiritual legend, just like they were. They were on the dark side. I am on the light side. I am with God. And that's why they're in trouble. Because it's raw spiritual warfare with spiritual warfare attacks included. It's one thing to say spiritual warfare and talk about war, going to war spiritually, and it's another thing to manifest like I'm doing. I'm constantly this side, God is constantly manifesting results for me. I can't speak for you. I can't speak for your crew. I can't speak for anything that you do. I'm speaking for me. God is manifesting for me. And for everybody that played with me in the American community, based off what you heard, hearsay, like you in the 8th grade, you're in trouble, bro. I don't care what you're talking about. Listen, we all can say we have good intentions. We all can say this. Everybody can say, well, my intentions were good. Who cares? Your intentions may have been good, but they were ignorant. They were unlearned. Ignorance means unlearned. That's what ignorance means. It means unlearned. Your attacks and operations and everything you did was unlearned. First of all, according to your community has 44 states with child marriage. Number one, which means you don't have spiritual legal rights first to be out here playing with anybody talking about anything concerning children. Because your country is doing that right here. You can't fool a spiritual person like me. I'm too high ranking. Child marriage ain't nothing but pedophilia to a spiritual person like me. I can see all through that, and that's all it is. And you can play Jedi mind tricks with the American citizens out there. All you politicians, you can't play no Jedi mind tricks with me. In nature, that is nothing but pedophilia. An adult married to a child, underage, having sex. That's nothing but pedophilia. And you think marrying them changes the situation. It doesn't. So how can your community, I say all that to say this, how can your community be out here like cowboys running around trying to play psychological pedophilia games with individuals when their country is marrying children, taking them home, and basically having a lifelong affair of pedophilia? So that's why you got a liability. See, in the spiritual laws, that created a liability. Oh, okay. That's a 7. It created a liability because your country is doing the same thing, which means you're contradicting, which means you're hypocrites. Okay, well, your country is in a state of hypocrisy. Your country is in a state of extreme, severe hypocrisy when we see that you got 44 states with child marriage, but you talking about what people doing with kids. That ain't hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is saying one thing, basically criticizing somebody for doing something and you doing the same thing. That's one part of it. That's one part of hypocrisy. You're sitting up here telling other people not to do this and getting on people who you think is doing something, but y'all the one doing it. Collectively speaking, which means collectively you can do nothing. You see your dilemma? So that's why there are severe liabilities to your community. That's why. That's why. Right there. That's why. Because you are in a state of hypocrisy. And hypocrisy brings destruction. You can't be out here getting on other people and you out here got laws of marrying children. Buddy. Oh, you think you're supposed to just walk away? Talking about, oh, we had good intentions. We meant well. I don't care if you meant well or not. See, I already covered the black community concerning these witch hunters, these pedophile witch hunters. I've already covered the black community. Now I have to cover everybody else. Okay. Next is the white American community. You're next. First of all, as far as you go, as far as pedophilia and all of that, you make up most of the registered sex offenders. You make up more than half of them, white Americans. Go look it up, guys. Look up the percentage of white registered sex offenders that are white Americans. They make up more than half of registered sex offenders. So it's safe to say it's a white American problem more than anybody else's problem. And it's safe to say you probably think everybody else is like that because you like that. I don't know what it is. All I know is you have the problem. I don't know why you're doing it in the way you're doing it, but we know that you have this problem more than anybody else. So that should kind of make you fall back a little bit. Just alone, that part alone. But here you are, ignorant as the rest of everybody else. Running around like John Wayne. And you have 44 states with child marriage. Now, the white Americans are the ones who made these laws. You the ones that made these laws. Oh, so the Asians made the laws of 44 states with child marriage in America? That's a 7. While you running around hitting Asians in the head, who made the 44 states with child marriage laws? What ethnicity you think, what ethnicity you guys think that made it? What race of people here in America you think made those laws? You think Asians made it? You think Asians made 44 states with child marriage in America? Asians made those laws. So Asians didn't make the laws. So did Hispanic or Latinos make the law? Of 44 states with child marriage, they made 44 states with child marriage laws. Hispanics and Latinos in America. So they didn't make the laws. See, I told you I'm not racist, I'm just Pacific. So I'm just being Pacific. So Hispanics and Latinos did not make the 44 states with child marriage laws. Can we agree on that? It wasn't the Hispanics or Latinos. So it wasn't them.
It wasn't the Asians. It wasn't the Hispanic or Latinos. It wasn't the Indians from India. They didn't do it. It wasn't the Native Americans. And it wasn't black people. Black people are too family oriented, are too close as a community to express this as a part of their desires that would come from their culture. So that only leaves you, buddy. White Americans, you out here, you done made 44 states with child marriage laws. It was you. It was you. Who else did it? In America, who else made 44 states with child marriage laws? It was the white Americans. You have to admit it. For the most part. For the most part, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about sprinkles. We're not talking about sprinkles on cupcakes. We're talking about, for the most part of the cupcake. You make up the cupcake. Right? We can agree on that. It probably was mostly white Americans that made 44 states with child marriage in America. Because they quick to say it's their country. But when we talk like this, oh, well, I don't think that's fair. How isn't it fair? I'm being specific. I don't have time for your emotional feelings. We want to get down to who did it. So we know it wasn't the Asians. So we need to exclude them from the situation. We know it wasn't the Hispanics or Latinos, so we need to exclude, now you see why I'm being specific. We need to exclude them from the situation. It wasn't black people, so we have to exclude them from the situation. So it only leaves you, bro. See, tribes have to take responsibility for their liabilities. I am a strong believer in keeping the tribe, that perspective of tribe alive. Because just like I just did just now, I separated many tribes and I brought the liability to the tribe that brought about the liability. That's what I did right there. That's what I did. So that we can confront them and therefore we can get to the root of the culture of pedophilia in your country. So it's a lost cause. It's a dummy mission, what we call a dummy mission, to go after, we go after the Asians and see what's going on there. See what's going on with the Hispanics and Latinos concerning this pedophilia, marrying, this culture of wanting to marry children. You're going to find nothing. You already know in your heart of hearts and using your intelligence that they had nothing to do with it here in America. You know Asians didn't have nothing to do with that. So Asian politicians in America had something to do with 44 states with child marriage. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And you know it. Hispanics and Latinos politicians having something to do with 44 states with child marriage, as many kids as they got, you know that's ridiculous too. You know that's ridiculous because they're super family oriented. So why would they do that? That part. Here in America now. Why would they do that? So you know it wasn't them. And you know it wasn't black people either. So that only leaves white America. And we need to think of, and I'm going to do a video about this too. We have to continue to think in the sense of tribes so we can get down to the matter of problems within the community based on a tribal level. Right? We have to keep that alive because we can bring legalities or liabilities to the tribe that is responsible. If your tribe is responsible for causing conflicts in the community, we're not going to white people. If it's Hispanics and Latinos, we're not going to white people. We're not going to black people. We're not going to the Asians. We're coming to you to talk to you about the liabilities that your tribe has caused. See, what this does is this brings about more accountability from the tribe and more responsibility for tribe members, because you know you don't want to bring a liability on your tribe. And there's severe consequences for those who do. So if you got people that's Hispanic and Latino out here gang stalking, we don't care what group they're in. Notice I didn't talk about that. I'm not talking about gangs, Crips and Bloods, secret societies, any of that. We're going by tribes. This is how it was in the old days. We going by tribes. So if we find that your tribe has taken money and are involved in some foolishness, we're bringing about the liability to that tribe. Now you see why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, because I am bringing about I'm bringing about the liabilities. I'm bringing them about to the tribe that is involved. I can't blame white people when it on ground level. Let's say specifically in my neighborhood, I can't blame white people when this is a Hispanic and Latino neighborhood. So when it comes to specifically in my situation as of now, today, I can't say, well, it's white people gang stalking. Let's go talk to these white people. Let's talk to these white people that are that have me in their politics around this neighborhood, that's witch hunting me all throughout these stores. It's not white people. It's Hispanics and Latinos, specifically in my situation. And so I have to address their tribe with that liability. That's a 7. Now you see the examples. I'm not just getting on white people. I'm showing you how the Hispanics and Latinos have liabilities with me too. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do, because I've lived here almost going on 2 years, and their community has been playing gang stalking games. Let's talk about it. Specifically in my situation, Hispanics have been playing gang stalking games, playing games of witch hunting, playing neighborhood politics, and now it's time for severe liabilities. And listen, if it was the white man, I would talk to him the same way. You see that right now. I told you where the 44 states where child marriage laws come from. It comes from the white tribe. I addressed that, so you can't take it personal. If like I said, I'm not racist, and I'm going to say this all the way to the end of the world. I'm not racist. I'm Pacific. I am Pacific. If your race is involved with foolishness, I am addressing it as your race that's doing it. If your tribe is responsible for foolishness, I am addressing your tribe. That's not racism. That's being specific. If black people are killing more than anybody else, I am addressing their tribe. That's not racism. That's specific. And you see how you get to you see how your approach to problems are more sophisticated this way? It's more sophisticated, right? It's more sophisticated. Instead of just not knowing who to address and just going out all to America, no, that's not going to work. You can't blame everybody for everything. I can't blame Hispanics and Latinos for 44 states with child marriage in America. They had nothing to do with that. However, their liability is all the gang stalking and witch hunting they have been doing when I have been living in this neighborhood on Astoria Boulevard in Jackson Heights in New York. They're responsible for that. That's their liability. Hey, listen, nothing get past me. Nothing gets past me. I can't blame white people for that. This is not a white neighborhood. I can count on both hands how many white people I've seen in this neighborhood. So it's not them. It's Hispanics. And that's a liability. And God is going to bring the spiritual repercussions for that. Ain't no games being played, bro. So you see how I'm covering this American community that's walking around playing games, gang stalking, witch hunting. You see how I'm addressing it, right? I've already addressed the African American community's part in it, and now I'm addressing the Hispanic, their part in it. And it's reality. We can sit here and play with each other, and you can act like I'm being racist, but you know, like I know, they're part of it. I don't care about, listen, you see how I get past all the groups and all of that foolishness? I don't care about that. I base it on tribes. I base it on tribes. And if I see a significant number of a specific type of people, then I can tribe it off. It's one thing if, okay, you see a black person, a white person, you can't really say it's a certain tribe. But if you have a significant number of people that's doing the same thing, then I can tribe that off, if you will, to your tribe as a liability. And that's why you have to have your tribe and your community in check for real. Not just saying you do, having them in check for real, with real repercussions. Because the Bible, when people did certain things in a tribe, they died. See, we let the police handle things. But if you look in the Bible, tribes were giving commandments. And if those commandments were broken, if it was broken, people died. I'm going to just leave it at that. You can't go around talking about racism, talking about people are racist and they want to burn crosses. They want to be racist. No. You're racially shell-shocked. You think that everybody that confronts you is racist. That means to me you're shell-shocked when it comes to racism. You're shell-shocked because you think every time someone addresses you, it's racism. It's not racism this time. I'm being specific according to what you've done. And unfortunately, for the African American community and the Hispanic community, concerning my situation specifically, you have been doing too much gang stalking and witch hunting to not have liabilities and severe liabilities. It is what you caused it to be. It's not what I caused it to be. It's what you caused it to be. You can't go around playing with everybody and thinking it's all good. Now you see its repercussions, and now you want to make it better. The only way you're gonna make it better is what real men do. Justice comes in the forms of monetary gain in our community and culture. You don't just imprison somebody and then set them free like a dog. Your American government doesn't even do that. And you're supposed to be better than them. If your American government makes someone liable and puts them in prison, if that happens and they were wrong, they don't only set them free, they pay money. It's not good enough to try to let me free. Like, we let you live. Well, I'm supposed to be alive because you believed in lies. So you were never supposed to be doing this. That part. So you don't need to be talking about whether I live or die in any form or fashion. Because you believed a lie and you weren't supposed to be doing anything. Which means you're supposed to be dead. That's what that means. Actually, you're supposed to be dead. But you can be a man or a woman, whatever the case may be, whatever gender you are, and get a bag and be a man or a woman about it. Because you're caught. And we know you're caught. It ain't no goofy games that's gonna get you out of it. You don't want to give it to me that I'm a big dog. Listen, man, I ain't got nothing to say but that, hey, it is you're caught and that you owe. Bottom line. Ain't no more games being played. Game time is over. Game over. Time to pay. And if you don't, because you think I'm like you don't need to, then you're going to suffer as a community, as an entire collective community. I promise you that. As a prophet of God, I promise you, your collective community will suffer. I can't speak for Christians that have not been through what I've been through. I can't speak for them because they want to chalk it off as persecution. You want to chalk it off as things that we go through. No, no, no. Let me help you understand something about spiritual persecution or persecution for Christians. If God does not or allow that persecution, there is destruction that's coming. If God does not allow the persecution or the games that people are playing, if he doesn't allow it, destruction is coming. Oh, you want me to give you examples? I can go with Moses, the children of Israel. God said, let my people go. Now, people can say, well, they may, as God's people, they had to go through what they went through. God said, let them go. And then plagues came. Pharaoh's firstborn died. His child died. God don't play no games. Pharaoh's firstborn died. His first son, that the first child is very dear because that's the firstborn. That's the first child you brought in the world. God took him. God took that child. God doesn't play any games. You get me? You understand what I'm saying? Because you think your children can't die. Yeah, I got to tell you like that. I can show you in the Bible where they did die. And if you're sitting up here playing games and you playing with God's people, that's an example. Now, some people say, well, they supposed to go through that persecution. They supposed to be, God will deliver us. God say, let them go. And they didn't do it, I guess, in a time frame, and repercussions was released. So what does that tell you? God did not ordain or allow the oppression in the time frame that was against his will. If the time frame of the oppression is against his will and he does not want them oppressed, you will suffer plagues and destruction. Bottom line. That has to be understood because you have these American Christians that think that they just allow anything to happen to them and they just think it's all persecution. When you can see in the Bible, clearly that's not the case. Many times when people play with God's people, there was destruction. There was destruction. Yeah. And so that, with that being said, they can't speak on my situation. You can't listen to these Christians here in America because they're going to tell you, well, that's part of being a Christian. That's what they'll tell you. I can show you the Bible where if God did not allow that persecution, you're in trouble. You play with his people, you're in trouble. I can show you the prophet Elisha. The 42 kids played around and kept picking at his head saying, bald head, bald head. Elisha cursed those children in the name of the Lord, and those children were devoured by 2 she-bears, which are protective bears. She-bears are protective bears, more protective than the male bears, which means they were more ferocious than a male bear. And the kids died. Now, what a preacher gonna tell you about that? Well, you should have just, you know what American preachers gonna tell you? You should have just took that. You're a man of God. Where's the fruit of the Spirit? Well, God didn't see it that way, did he? Where's the fruit of the Spirit? Those are kids. You should have just ignored that. God didn't see it that way. You You ain't no man of God. A child should be able to say anything to you. It don't bother you at all. You should have better fruit. You should have more patience. Patience is one of the fruit of the Spirit. What's wrong with you? God didn't see it that way. That's why I'm trying to show you. American Christians have influenced you to believe that we can be played with. Them, even them. You think it already, and then they teach you that you can come play with me. I'm taking on this persecution. Maybe they look at it as a badge of honor or something. Not in the proper way. No, because it is an honor to suffer for Christ. But in a synthetic way, in a fake way, it's some kind of flaky badge of honor, right? Because the prophet Elisha is the best example. Because the kids were just mocking him and playing around him and teasing him, and they died. Kids. That's a perfect example of showing you how the kingdom of God is not to be played with. Bottom line. That's a perfect example. Because some people think, well, that's hardcore. That's hardcore. Kids died, devoured by animals. Wow. That's pretty hardcore. Listen, the kingdom of God, God's people are like lions in the jungle. You don't play with the lions. Nobody in the jungle goes and plays with the lions. You got these people, and I gotta be specific. You got these white Americans, and they're like hyenas, and they think they're like, you ever seen that show Jackass? That movie, that series Jackass? They think they can go play with the lions. I'm trying to show you that perspective. Like these goofballs that think, well, we're gonna go play with a spiritual person. And now you see what you got. You got COVID-19 because of that. God brought that as a curse on your country. And if you need to hear it so you know who to blame, it's the secret societies, the Freemasons, and the Illuminati in your American community that caused that on the entire world. Oh, you don't think so? It's the facts. And many of you know this. They are specifically to blame for this. Because if God does not ordain persecution, if God does not ordain sufferings, if he does not allow it, there are real repercussions and everyone will suffer. And I just gave you a perfect example of the prophet Elijah when he cursed the children in the name of the Lord. Now, most people will say, well, he wasn't supposed to be going through that. That's the man of God. You don't play. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or child. You do not play with the kingdom of God. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or child. You don't play with lions. You don't play with lions. Especially children. You don't go playing around no lions. You don't even know what you're playing with. And that's the real world. And if you want to test it, God will devour you too. If you got a problem with it, take it up with God and he'll take care of you. I promise you that. He'll tuck you away in the coffin. Tuck you right away in the coffin if you got a problem with it. See, what you thought is that God's kingdom is just anything can happen. Anything goes in America. Now you see that's not true. Now you see that's not true. Now the little white guys that the type of little college little act like they hyped up on caffeine. You know the type. Laughing like hyenas, thinking everything is a game. Like to play all kind of little games because they ain't got too much time on their hands because they got money. Their parents got money. Their grandparents got money. And they want to go play with society like it's a video game. That's a 7 hour. And now these little white college kids, I'm painting a picture for you. It's those type. They are part of bringing this on you too. And now they're suffering for it. And you want somebody to blame, and it's them. I'm telling you that's who it is. White college-like kids, fools, jackasses, jerks that has played with your society like it's a video game. They brought this upon your community. You need to strangle them and choke them out. For real. Because they brought all of this on you and they don't even care. They look at you as disposable. They look at your community as disposable. Think about it. White entitled Americans look at all of you as disposable. They don't care if you die as a result of them playing games. They already see you as disposable. Just like butt wipes that you wipe your butt with. They see you as disposable as that. That's why it explains why they're still playing games. Because they don't care if you live. They already know they dead. They already know this the end. So I had to address that part of the American community that's doing this gang stalking. Now, here's the next part of it. The American, the citizens that think they're doing the right thing. The neighborhood watch kind of people. Yeah, I got to get to you. I got to get to you because you've been around for a long time. You got this mentality like, oh, you doing what God would have you to do. You know, you're catching the pedophiles. You're keeping an eye on the community. You don't even know 44 states is marrying children, first of all. Neighborhood watch. All the neighborhood watch kind of people. First of all, you don't even know that your country is marrying children presently now. So let me get you off your high horse. Let me get that magnifying glass off your eye. Because look, your country has no legal right to be involved in anyone's life as far as investigation and investigating operations. They are marrying children. This what this means. You might say, what does that mean? What does that mean? This means they have no legal right to enforce any laws. That's how terrible it is. Well, let me ask you one question to prove that point. Do you think someone that allows people to marry children has the right to enforce any kind of laws or justice on people that are having sex with children? So again, do anyone that passed laws, the American government that passed laws, child marriage laws, do they have legal right, not opinions and all of that? They're marrying children over here. Do they have legal right to enforce any child sex laws on the other side of that situation? When a child marriage is child sex, do they have the right to enforce child sex laws or child sex charges when they have child marriage laws? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question. Do you feel they have the right to allow people to get married in 44 states to children, and then they still have the right to lock people up or try to play games and investigate people? You think they got the right to do that? Yes or no? And if you say yes, you have lost your mind. Because the majority of your country, only leaving out 6 states, has child marriage, which means it's an option. We don't care how many people have done it. We care that your country has made it an option in their law system. It's in their law system. And in that same law system, they are enforcing laws against child sex situations. The breaking of child sex laws that they've made. They're enforcing laws against one part of the community, but the white American part of the community that made these laws, because it's white people that made these laws. So it's like a white privilege. I hate to say it, because really no one else is wanting to take advantage of it but white people. So it's like this white thing that gets to go on with child marriage, but yet you enforcing laws against R. Kelly. I don't see the difference. I'm not saying that makes me smarter than you, but I don't see the difference between child marriage laws, which is in essence, let's break down the details. It's an adult having sex with a child. Bottom line, it's not, obviously a man can't have compatibility with a child. A woman can't have compatibility with a child. So it ain't nothing but child sex. That's what it is, stripped down. It's stripped down. Child marriage is nothing but child pedophilia. An adult having sex with a child. Right? That's what it is. It's stripped down, that's what it is. The Jedi mind trick is just talking about child marriage in the first place. That's the Jedi mind trick. It doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on me. You have been charmed by a Jedi mind trick. Child marriage there's no such thing of it. Let's clarify that. By standards of good men and women, it is not even recognized. It's not even a possibility. You got that part? It's not a possibility. It's not possible for a man to be married to a child. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous concept in the first place that your country should have been done away with, but they haven't done away with it. So my thing is, how can they enforce anything? And you know what that means? You know what my next conclusion is? Is that you are close to anarchy and your system is falling. That's how you know anarchy is on the way. This is the catalyst to anarchy. That's a 7. Well, when people find this out, they're going to find no need to obey your law system. So my campaign, without trying to be, is a catalyst for anarchy. Because no one is, when your American community finds this out, as far as the culture, all the famous people, no one is going to feel a need to obey this system in their right minds. No military is going to want to obey it. No police is going to want to obey it. Nobody that is of good character and integrity our noble people are going to want to obey that American law system. That means, community watch people, that you are on the brink of anarchy. Because now your law system is passing laws to marry children. That's the end of it. I know you lost track of the end of times. You lost your way. It all became a big blur. I'm snapping you out of that. We're at the end of times, and now your country is on the brink of anarchy because they are marrying children, and the last law was passed 3 years ago, a year before COVID, of child marriage. So this is not an old perspective. They're still doing this. The people that are still thinking like this are still out there. Those politicians that passed that law 3 years ago are somewhere out there in your community. Well, three years ago, most of them should be alive right now. You should be able to look them up. But you haven't done it, have you? Okay. But you call yourself community watching. You need to watch your your whole American community. That's what you need to do. That part. You need to watch your whole American community, buddy, and stop trying to watch people. And you got 44 states with child marriage, and you're on the brink of anarchy. Because, like I said, once real good military and good old guys, armed men find this out, it's over. And I'm not saying they're gonna go do something. I'm telling you, it's over. It's no way in the world that's the straw that broke the camel back. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. You cannot. You've done racism. You've raped the Native Americans of their land. You've enslaved Africans, and now you're marrying children. That's all we need. It's over. Whether you want it to be or not. Whether I want it to be or not. What you gonna do? Unthink this stuff? How can you unthink this? How can you unknow this? Well, you don't know it. You used to know it, but you don't know it. You can't forget this. It changes everything. Whether you accept it or not. Whether you accept it or not, it changes everything. And it also changes the real image. It also changes the image, the fake image that you have of America to the real image. The real image that's marrying children. All on Facebook, I'm telling all kind of people. And they're appalled. They can't believe it. People all over the country, I'm informing them. And they cannot absolutely believe this. They can't believe it. So just imagine if everybody knew it. You think it's going to be all good? Okay. You think it's going to be all good? Okay. And that's the confidence that I have that anarchy is on the way. When everybody hear this, it's over. No one's trying to hear anything, bro, because people are already fed up. They already fed up. Like me. It's like we're already fed up with the crazy people in your community. And then we find out on top of that, right on top of it, nowhere else, right on top of it, we find out that you're marrying children here in America. That's it. That's all. It's over. And I don't care what you got going. I don't care about your entertainment. I don't care about your comedy. I don't care about your sports. I don't care about anything you had planned. It is over. Okay? I don't care about your dreams. I don't care about the dreams of your family. You got 44 states with child marriage. That's the dreams of your American country. And they just passed a new law, like I said, 3 years ago, that allows adults to marry children at any age. That's the dream that's the American dream, buddy. Boom, ow. That's a 7. That's the new American dream, buddy. Marrying children, that part, that's a 7. Yeah, that's your new American dream. It went from the picket fence with the dog in the little suburban house to marrying children now. I guess that little picket fence suburban house, that suburban house surrounded by a picket fence, I guess that wasn't good enough. I guess the American dream had to be expanded. Because this was passed less than 3 years ago. And you can get mad all you want. See, I'm going to do a message on this too. The only resistance is the dark patriots. You know what I call the dark patriots? The people that serve America no matter if they pedophiles or not. You just a whore for America. You just a skeezer, the old word we use for whores. You just a skeezer for America. I'm no skeezer for America. Okay? You can't make me be no skeezer. Okay? You're a dark patriot for America that Now we find that even when you find out y'all pedophiles, you still going. You know what that means? That you're also taking on the integrity and character of a pedophile. Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's I have a video lined up about that. If you're a patriot, you have to take the good and bad of America. You can't just say, well, I'm not a part of that. I'm a good old patriot, but I ain't a part of that. Unfortunately, this is such an elephant in the room that you have to decide from this information of 44 states with child marriage, you have to decide that you are going to follow America and be a part of pedophilia or not. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So you'll say, well then, Marcelo, what are we supposed to do? You look at everything you get from this country as spoils of war. You get EBT, you get cash, you work in a job, it's all spoils of war. It does not influence you to be part of this community. It does not influence you to be any way grateful for your American government. It's spoils of war. They're supposed to be doing it. That's how you look at it. Because see, if you don't look at it that way, if you don't have the proper perspective, when they're the enemy according to your principles and your standards, you'll let that influence you to making you think, well, America's not that bad. Look what I just got. I just got some money in the mail. Something just hit my card. We don't care. That's spoils of war. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Because you're in war. The enemy gives you something. If you get something in warfare from the enemy side, that is spoils of war. So that's your mentality. Whatever you get from your job, taxes, et cetera, EBT, whatever, all of that, they looking at you like you're supposed to be grateful for it because they're used to influencing people with that, to be on their side. They're used to persuading people to be on their side with that. It ain't working this time. We feel like it should have been way better in this country. It should have been way more money, and that's not working. That's spoils of war. That's all that is. If you think that those little scraps is going to influence me to follow your country and be a part of you, you tripping. That's spoils of war. That's what it is. That's how you look at it. They betrayed you. They betrayed your integrity. They betrayed your trust. They just passed the last child marriage law 3 years behind your back. Did they trumpet it? Did they do a trumpet sound? Dun, 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 dun. We're going to marry children. Was there a press conference? You ain't hear nothing about it, did you? So it's almost like it was behind your back. Listen, I'm not the devil, bro. Your country is the one that if it's any boogeyman, it's them. They got you so screwed up in your mind, you thinking people like me the boogeyman. I ain't the boogeyman. How I'm the boogeyman and I'm telling you what they doing to your children. And you don't even know about this. They basically did this behind your back. And you looking for boogeymen. These people are some of the most superstitious, cartoonish people, goofy people I have ever seen in any society. Look at it for what it is. Even down to the food they eat. McDonald's. That's cartoon food. It ain't cartoon food. It ain't goofy food. Why they got a clown? Why they have Ronald McDonald there? Ronald McDonald was showing that a clown that actually literally part of the restaurant. I tell the Russians, don't worry about that food. It ain't what it used to be anyway. That's clown food. Literally. Where Ronald McDonald pushing it, that's clown food. Listen, man, it's goofy food. Look at how little the sandwiches are. How can a grown man get full off that? What grown man can get full off? You got to eat 2 and 3 of them sandwiches. And you really still ain't full. It's food on the go. That's all it is. They got to call it fast food because it's food on the go. You can't get full off that. I got to eat about 4 of them sandwiches. Half of y'all too embarrassed to eat how many it takes to get full. It takes 4 sandwiches for an average man to get full off some them little chickens, them little biscuits and sandwiches. Makes you think it's almost pedophile. It's kid food. Yeah, let's make this little food for the kids. It ain't grown man food. So McDonald's is grown man food. A Big Mac. Look how many patties they got to put on it. That part. Some people just, man, listen, you can't impress everybody. And some people came out. Some people came out of your country when you was playing games and laughing and thought it was all good. Some people were coming out of your country, being educated, and now your smile is going away, isn't it? Now ain't nothing funny no more, is it? It's nothing funny when you got COVID-19 and your smile is mashed up. Literally. Took the smile right off your face. Boom. It ain't funny no more, is it? That's how you do a clown. Take the smile off a clown's face. That's the first thing you do. That part. That's a 7. Take the smile off a clown's face. By playing no games. It look like we playing games. You got 44 states with child marriage. You ever known a black man to play games? Extensively. Extensively. It's not in our nature. Nobody playing no games. And that's why you in the situation you in now. Playing all these games, running around like McDonald people. It all influences you to be goofy. They don't want you to be real men. Think about it. What's serious in your community? What's real masculine in your community that makes you feel like a man? Even the restaurants is just emasculating almost. What out there makes you feel like a man? Think about it. Look at the commercials you got. When the last time you seen masculine men on the commercials? You used to back in the day. Now you don't see none of that. You don't see no masculine men. But there are severe liabilities, man. And if you think it's a game, you keep smiling that same smile, clowns. You keep smiling that same clown smile. And you're going to see one day, soon, you're going to hit a corner and all of this going to be gone. And you're going to be talking about, well, what we're going to do, we should have done. It's too late for that. It's going to be too late. That fight to the end stuff is, even though I don't consider myself American anymore, do you think I lost my American smarts? Or you don't think I would utilize my American smarts? I'm utilizing them, by the way. Why not? After all, the Americans are the enemy. So why shouldn't I use my American smarts? If you think the fight to the end, I kill you quicker. I ain't gonna let you fight forever. That's American smarts. That's American smarts. You want to fight to the end? We'll kill you quicker. We'll kill you quicker. You think you can sacrifice somebody? We'll kill you quicker. We'll kill your whole sacrificing mentality. That's old and played out too. You know who did that? Me. I killed that whole sacrifice mentality. You couldn't sacrifice me? Boom. Talking about sacrifice. Look, listen, sucker. You couldn't sacrifice me. You could be dead tonight. You want to die tonight? You want to die tonight? You in God's world. Don't you forget it, little girls. You in God's world. You might want to watch your step. God might take you tonight. I serve a real God. He'll take you tonight. You don't threaten my life. He'll take you tonight. I destroyed the whole sacrificing mentality of these secret societies. They couldn't do it to me. Just like a real Bible character. Like a modern day Bible character. Some secret society thought they could sacrifice a man to God. They couldn't do it. Now they dying from COVID-19. You got 1 million dead here now. Don't you ever think you could do something to me, sucker? I can do something to you. And I can do it tonight. We can get it done tonight. Don't you ever forget that. Of what level of spirituality I'm on. That old sacrificing mentality, I killed it. Through Christ Jesus, I killed it. And if you think you think you're gonna fight to the end, I use my American smarts and guess what? We kill you quicker through Christ, through his kingdom. We'll kill you quicker. You want to fight to the end? We'll kill you quicker. That means we'll get it over with quick. Because listen, ain't no reason to go on. Because as far as you go, because you're not trying to come to an understanding that you lost and you lose. You know, even in real wars between countries, you have an understanding when one side has lost. Okay, we're going to walk away. We're not going to lose our whole country. When Japan goes to war with America, take notes, you little dumb idiots, you little secret society idiots. I'm talking about real war, real war. Not that little foolishness you doing, that McDonald's, sponsored by McDonald's. Not none of that foolishness. You sponsored by McDonald's, suckers. Might as well have a commercial. Sponsored by McDonald's. In real war, if you got two forces, you see the picture I'm painting, it's the real goofy picture though. It's the goofiness, it's the real energy. It's the goofy energy that's real. Let's give this example. When America went to war with Vietnam, they lost the war. They went to war with Vietnam and lost. Right? America couldn't keep fighting and saying, well, we're going to fight to the end. If they had done that, they would have put all their servicemen in death's way. At some point, the American government realized that they lost. I'm showing you your own community that you think is so bad and rad. Huh? You think they're so bad and rad. Well, they lost. They lost this war between the Vietnamese people. The Vietnamese people defeated the American military. They defeated it. Whether you accept it or not. The history is the Vietnam defeated America. I know you people don't like to bring it up. But I'm bringing it up. Vietnam defeated America. And America had to withdraw their troops, whatever they had left, I'm guessing, tuck their tail, and take their loss. They couldn't keep sending troops out there. They couldn't say, well, we're going to fight to the end. We're going to prove who we are as Americans. The cost would have been too great. So, They had to take the loss and walk away. Now Vietnam and America have a great relationship. This is with real bloody wars. I'm trying to show you real history. I'm trying to show you real history because you playing chicken with God's kingdom. And listen, we'll run through you like a scooter to a Mack truck, like a Mack truck to a scooter, take you all the way out and under the grave and tuck you in a coffin. In real time, look at your country. This is one kingdom you don't want to play with, boy or girl. This is what you got to understand. This is not what you want to do. We're worse. We're more mightier than your community, your American community. Obviously, we proved it. There's nothing left to prove. And just like you lost the Vietnam War, you're going to have to withdraw or die. That's it. Now, like I said, the American community now has a great relationship with Vietnam. They have Vietnamese restaurants all around. They're not boycotting it. They're allowing it. The Vietnamese people are here, and this is real life. This is how it goes. You lost real people to the Vietnamese people. You lost real people to the Vietnamese people. You lost real soldiers. You lost. They died. Families mourned. But now you have a great relationship with the Vietnamese people, with Vietnam. But you had to be men and women and accept that you lost for that to happen. Because if you did not do that, you would have continued to send troops and they would have continued to hand your butts back to you like they did. And it's the same situation. This is the second Vietnam. This is the second Vietnam, buddy. Well, you already got 1 million deaths. Real deaths. Huh? And you can't win. You cannot win. You have to take your loss and walk away like you did with the first Vietnam War. You can't, you all that American arrogance and American pride is going to get you killed, man. That's all I'm saying. In a massive way. Because God can shut it down tomorrow and it's all over. You don't realize you are hanging by a string over hell with gasoline draws on. You're hanging on a string over hell with gasoline draws on, bro. You got gasoline, you got a gasoline thong on. For women, gonna burn your butthole up. You can't play with this kingdom and think it's all good, man. This is nothing to play with. My messages are not for kids anyway. If you can't take a man saying butthole, I mean, come on. How really? That part. So I'm just telling you like it is, man. This is the second Vietnam War. Having American pride and all that American energy, it ain't even no time to have that anyway, because America ain't been doing good by you anyway. Now all of a sudden you want to have American pride. Donald Trump, that whole Donald Trump administration, haven't done good by you anyway. Joe Biden pulled troops out of Afghanistan prematurely and destroyed all the progress that we made in Afghanistan after 9/11. All that progress is gone because now the Taliban are back on top. They ain't talking about that. They ain't telling you about that, are they? They're not briefing you month to month on that, are they? Because it's a shame to them that they withdrew those troops prematurely, and now all that progress is down the drain because now you have a terrorist group back on top of Afghanistan. That's what it is. And a lot of people died. And 7 children died from a drone attack attacking the wrong targets over there, trying to attack something over there in Afghanistan back last year. That's why Joe Biden is not getting reelected, because the military is going to tell it like it is concerning this. This man destroyed all the progress for 9/11. When 9/11 happened here in New York City, in Manhattan, there was a military response, right, that continued to progress from the first administration all the way up to now, because they still had troops over there. All of that progress from 2000 beginning in 2002, I would say. 2000, you could say maybe 2001 at the end of the year. But safe to say by 2002, they were, I guess, going over there in Afghanistan. All that progress gone. Because that man wanted to try to impress you. He trying to get points with you and pull all those troops out, and now all that progress is gone. And it looks like he don't even really care. I mean, he may feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? But do you see any real sorrow? And they ain't telling you what's going on. Listen, man. You're either competent to do the job, you're competent to do the job, or you're not. Bottom line. There is no room for error in that situation. You're trained to do a job. How you send a drone attack and kill 7 children? That part. That's what I'm saying. So America has not been good, have done good in the proper way in a long time. And now all of a sudden you got renewed American pride. That's how they deceived you. Ain't nothing to be prideful about. Ain't nothing to take pride in. Especially now that you know you got 44 states with child marriage. It ain't nothing to take pride in. And you can count it, you can trivialize it, but God ain't trivializing it. Just in case your culture and your people are trivializing that, like I'm just saying this and you just, God ain't doing that. Because they played games with people out here, witch hunting, talking about pedophiles and all of this. And we find out that they got 44 states with child marriage. That's a fatal cocktail. You can't contradict yourself and be a hypocrite like that and expect not to die. It's one thing if you wasn't like a hypocrite in the situation, but you are, and that's death. One man said, and then we find out that you actually literally are doing this by government, and you telling me that ain't a death sentence. You telling me it's not. Then what is it then? What's supposed to happen? When they play with people all around the country and things you don't even know about, what's supposed to happen? Time of letting people go is over. I'm not letting them go. And God is not letting it go. You think he is. You think you know God, you don't. The same God you think you know, he allowed the prophet Elijah to curse 42 children and they died. He killed Pharaoh's firstborn. That's the real God. Now, do you think you know him? You think you know what he gonna do next according to that information? According to your community, based on that information, what you think he gonna do to you? Based on what you doing and playing and how you playing with God's people. What you think he gonna do to you? You think your children matter in the situation? You think your children matter in the situation when God doesn't allow kids to perish? You think your children matter because you think they got some special badge on their head. They can get wiped out too. This is why you have to be respectful of the kingdom of God. You can't disrespect us. You lost your mind, man.